Well, we're back. It's time to do some more A Crown of Swords, book 7 of the Wheel of Time. We used to just fly through these books and these chapters, and life has not allowed for that, but
No,
more goodness today. Definitely. 2 more chapters for you.
we're still getting through it, and we're still happy to do it. So hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son sit down and talk about fantasy books. Today, The Wheel of Time. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. And yeah, back to one of our favorite series. I used to say just my favorite series, but I'm almost done with Malazan Book of the Fallen. And I don't know, man. I don't know now. But this is still way up there. And this is a good book. It's fun to dig back into the 7th book of the series, kind of hitting that halfway point and just before it gets super sloggy.
Maybe not so wild of a take. It's not my favorite of the books.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
And we've got Carrie with us in Discord today. Good to have you here. She is so far ahead now. She's on book 11. There was a time she was trying to catch up with us, and which is fun. And we're glad you're still enjoying the books. But
we're happy for you. We're glad you're almost done.
Yeah.
And we're grateful that you're still keeping up with us being a little bit slower than you are on this.
This is a good time to remind people, though, that this is a spoiler light episode regarding the future. We're going to full spoil talk about things here, the content from chapters 9 and 10 today. But when anything that hasn't happened yet, we'll only mention the foreshadowing. We'll hint at stuff. We're not going to ruin anything beyond this. So where Carrie hasn't finished the series yet, yeah, we're not going to talk about what happens right there at the end of book 14.
Oh, you mean we're not going to talk? Yeah,
Right. Exactly. So let's get to it. Let's just jump right in, man. I want to have some fun. Although I should point out one new thing in my background. Now, it's not what we talked about in our last episode. It's the one that's right over my shoulder. Ooh, see it?
Yes.
I got a new mug.
I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if that was new or not.
It is brand new. I also got my JordanCon membership.
Nice.
Number 4. My 4th JordanCon this year. Are you going to come this time?
I don't know yet.
You have stuff going on in your life.
A little bit about on the schedule and if we can get away. And so right now the answer is unknown.
I was thinking when I went to JordanCon last time that it might be my last time. And then I had such a blast that I went, what am I thinking? I'm an idiot. Of course I'm coming back. So there you go. Now, Carrie hasn't come to JordanCon, but she goes to WotCon. So maybe someday we'll switch over to that. WotCon seems to be a good time too. But one of the things I do like about JordanCon is it's more than just the Wheel of Time. It's a lot of Wheel of Time, but it's other stuff too, other fantasy content, other science fiction content, all sorts of things. There's something for everybody, but still small. It's not like DragonCon. It's still a small, intimate con. I kind of like it. All right. What are we talking about today? I said we'll start with chapter 9.
Swords. Crowns.
Yes, Crown of Swords, chapter 9, called A Pair of Silverpike.
That's a fish.
Indeed. Both today's chapters are from Egwene's point of view, our near and dear Amerlin seat. And we start off with Egwene calling a meeting. She's bringing Lyanna and Swan together with her in her tent to have a serious conversation. And it's actually a bit risky to bring them together into a meeting with her. Do you recall why this would be risky?
This is socially risky, kind of. It's not like they're worried that a bomb's going to go off and they're all going to get assassinated. No, it's not back. They don't need a designated survivor.
So that could happen, I suppose, but probably
that's not why it's risk. The risk here is that Swan and Lyanna are still putting up this pretense so that they can be working in secret. They hate each other. They're resentful of each other and holding grudges so that the other Aes Sedai don't look too closely at what they're doing, especially with each other.
It's helpful in their work manipulating the Aes Sedai. But Egwene takes the risk because of key information she has to share with them, and that's breaking the news that Moghedien has escaped. And not only that she escaped, but she was broken out by a male channeler.
Yeah.
And she wants to talk about that. She wants to talk about the ramifications. She wants their help with trying to discern who did it. Is there a man hiding right here in the camp still? Or is there someone who saw something, like a man using a gateway to portal in and sweep her away? I mean, did someone see anything?
I should clarify, is there a man, like a man who can channel hiding in the camp? There's plenty of men in this camp.
Right, but a male channeler. That's why it could be. There could be a man hiding in plain sight who's not who he seems. After all, they do know that the Forsaken have abilities where you can mask what you look like, and you can mask your abilities.
Well, and let's go extra concerned here. They did just kind of arrange. I don't remember at this point if Lyanna and Swan know this at all, but Egwene did like arrange for Logain, who's recently been ungentled, to be released.
It's
so she's
one
still
of the
worried about that.
One of the niggling concerns. Did Logain do this? She really doesn't think he would have, but maybe she misjudged him. Now, Swan's suggestion is that they delegate this task, that they give Faulain and Theodrin charge of asking questions. Did anyone see anything? Was there anybody in the wrong place at the wrong time? Thinking that it will stir up less suspicion than if Swan and Lyanna start personally giving the third degree around.
Which isn't a bad idea, but it is also an idea where you're saying, hey, let's have people don't know what they're asking or why they're asking it, go about asking about it.
Now, those two are, likely to be open to a request like this that's coming from the Amyrlin through Swan or Lyanna, whichever one goes and asks them to do it or tells them to do it. Because, well, what's special about those two Aes Sedai? You remember?
Those two are the other ones that got lumped into the Elaine and Nynaeve. Let's ascend you up to being an Aes Sedai.
Auto raise!
Without the formal testing, without the oath rod to swear on. So there's a couple of things there. One, they may feel a little indebted to Egwene. Two, they're not technically bound by the three oaths.
That is true. Yeah.
Now, ideally, they're still living by them and all this, but for the sake of interrogating, if they needed to lie,
they are definitely tied to the word escapes me, but they're tied to how things go for the Amyrlin. Because some Aes Sedai look at them and like, yeah, you're not really Aes Sedai, because they haven't taken those oath.
Their legitimacy is tied to her success.
Yes. There's a few other mid-chapter tidbits of information dropped on us here. Thanks for being here, Carrie. She's off. Birthday girl today.
Happy birthday.
So one of those is that Egwene is thinking of a silver lining now that Moghedien is gone. And that's that she will finally be able to share a few new discoveries. One being how you can disguise yourself with the power. And another, the ability to mask your ability. Make it so people can't tell you can channel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why couldn't she share these before?
Because it was important to be able to use these without people knowing they were options.
Well, in particular, the Moghedien was using them constantly right there in the midst.
And if it's like you can see through those and realize it, then you suddenly realize, oh, we have a prisoner who's channeling and what? And suddenly you're making it a whole kerfuffle and have let free the Forsaken that was amongst you. Well, she's already free. So we can move forward on those issues.
Yeah. We also learned that Swan and Gareth Bryn's relationship is growing more complicated, mostly in good ways. You kind of discern at the end of the conversation, but it also seems rather combative. Swan
Sometimes it be like
hates
that.
the man, hates what she has to do, and yet doesn't want to be removed from it. It's interesting.
The line between love and hate is pretty thin.
We also get comment here about Egwene having headaches and that they're becoming pretty chronic. Remember that. That's significant.
You know what?
Headache.
Same, girl. Same.
So she goes for a walk after her meeting, hoping to get some fresh air. Maybe it'll ease her aching head. While walking about, her thoughts wander onto things. Probably the most significant is the lack of recent news from the delegation of sisters that she sent to Camelin to meet with Rand as a delegation from Saladar to try to, build some bridges. Back when they were just leaving Saladar, they did get a message that the women had arrived in Camelin and had been received by Rand, and things were off to a good start. But when Egwene actually read the message and the way things were all laid out, whole parts of the message screamed poppycock to her. Like Marana, the one in charge, was not telling her everything. It was perhaps glossing over some issues. It's just some of the things didn't pass the sniff factor. To follow up with that, there has been no more news. See, they have a communication system thanks to channeling. Thanks to channeling. Thanks to the ability to travel. And for those who aren't strong enough to travel, they can at least skim. They're able to use the power to move quickly, which means messages can be sent and carried back and forth swiftly. There's no excuse to not have information. So the fact that they don't have information from the delegation is not a good sign.
Not having information is information.
Yes. Her sense is that Marana has screwed the pooch in Camelin and is trying to fix it in some way and doesn't want to pass any news on until she has more good news to share.
Now, we know it is kind of true, but it's also kind of just
screwed. Yes.
Well, it's also just kind of Rand has some trauma and leads to some prejudices against Aes Sedai that makes it pretty easy to screw that pooch. I don't think that's how that phrase is supposed to be used.
This some poor pooch being, stop screwing me, stop. But remember, Marana, they believed Rand had hurt one of them, making a statement that no, that wasn't Rand at all, and so they went and blustered at him, and he didn't appreciate that.
That's not how you handle him.
A lot of miscommunication going on here now. Anyways, Egwene is feeling a desire, a need to go to Rand herself. Okay, this delegation is blowing it. I need to connect with him. I need to get us on the same page. It's too important for him to be off doing whatever and not have the Aes Sedai partnered with him. And she actually makes a comment to herself out loud about that, which is overheard by Lyanna, who happens to show up again right next to her. Makes Egwene jump out of her skin, thinking it might be who?
You know, a Forsaken come to kill her.
Yeah, she's kind of on pins and needles. Moghedien is somewhere. And who knows, is she really gone? Or is she just in the shadows waiting to jump out? Yeah. But Lyanna, she's there to say, I hear ya that you'd like to go to Rand, but you can't go to Rand. You totally cannot. Like, it's in Tower law. You can't go to Rand. She's like, what are you talking about? Well, she's the Amerlin seat now.
Yeah.
She's forbidden by Tower law from putting herself in danger without the permission of the Hall.
At least to that extent. And that is considered considerable danger.
Right.
Even if you go, it's just, Rand wouldn't hurt me. It's like, yeah, but if he wanted to, he probably really, really could.
And so Egwene's mind is, well, maybe, she's thinking in her head, well, maybe if I just do it in secret. And Lyanna totally reads her face. Not even in secret.
That would not win you any points.
These are the perils of being the leader. You actually lose the freedom to act as you'd like. It's true. After Liana moves along, Egwene is visited by Nicola and
Mhm.
Arena. Remind us of who they are.
These are some of the refugees that came from the town that they accidentally set on fire a little bit.
Yes.
They're in Saladar. The town was...
I don't remember.
It's not going to come to me right now.
Right on the river. Yeah.
But yeah,
They came in with
escaped
Nynaeve and Elaine.
and the Mogideon in disguise.
Right. Merrigan.
And so these two are still around, have some different driving factors. Nicola can channel, a little older than most of the novices, but she's been training and learning, and well, she's here to chat.
Yeah, she has a motive. She's a little frustrated with those training the novices. She's a novice. She's in novice white. She wants to go faster than they will let her. Hello, Egwene. You look like a black kettle.
Yeah. Egwene's going to shut this down. While she does acknowledge, yes, I felt this way. Yes, I wanted this.
But there are reasons.
There are reasons, and it is a good, valid thing. I acknowledge that she doesn't go as far as saying, acknowledging that she was wrong to think that way. It's more it could have been right for me, but it's wrong for most people. And so it's she's almost to the point. And it's close enough to be well, she essentially is seeing the eyes that I have a reason for this way. There can be exceptions and reasons, especially if you happen to get captured by Shan-Chan and forced way beyond your means. But no, you should take it slow.
Yep. Now, Nicola is the first one who shows up to talk. It's as they're talking that Egwene notices Arena is nearby. And she's always shadowing Nicola. They're clearly a pair. And Arena also hangs out around Birgitta. She kind of seems to picture herself as a defender, Nicola's right-hand muscle. They're here together with her, and they don't take the no very well.
Not really.
In fact, Nicola basically tries to blackmail Egwene.
And to be fair, it is kind of a valid blackmail thing.
She's got some dirt, yeah. She makes comment about, when we were traveling with Nynaeve and Elaine, I overheard Tom and Julian talking about how they had been, Nynaeve and Elaine had been pretending to be full sisters. I mean, I know they are full sisters now, but they certainly weren't back then. And, it crossed my mind. It might be a problem. Things might actually, go badly if it was to come to be known that they had been pretending to be full sisters when they weren't.
And Egwene basically goes, you're right. It would be bad if that came to be known. For you. Mm-hmm. I'd make sure it was bad. For you.
Yeah, starts bringing down some of the wrath of the Amerlin seed on her. But it's all just threats, basically.
Very thinly
don't let your
veiled.
mind go in those directions. It won't go well for you. And more or less, did you really just try to blackmail me? Bad call.
Now, as the interaction ends, Egwene does go,
oh, crap.
Okay, but that blackmail would be bad.
This could be bad. One more thing to worry about. And that's where our chapter ends. Anything you want to touch on in that chapter before we move on to the next one?
I'm good to keep going.
All right, well, that takes us to chapter 10, Unseen Eyes. And as I said, this is also an Egwene point of view chapter. She returns to her tent to head off to sleep, but not really sleep. It's Dreamwalker sleep. She's just using her training to step into the world between worlds, that place where it's black with all the spots of light, the little stars, which are actually what?
Dreams.
Yes.
People's dreams. She's in the dreamscape.
She has more people to talk to about this Mogideon stuff. So she goes and finds Nynaeve's dream. And just hovering outside it, she pushes a message into the dream. Now, what's really important to her right now is actually to tell her about this business with Nicola and Arena and what they're threatening, and be on guard about the fact that this might come out at some point. I don't know. I'm going to try to manage it, but be aware they're kind of threatening to let the cat out of the bag.
Be mindful, be careful.
Oh, by the way, Mogideon has escaped. She just drops that at the end of the message. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I think you had that backwards now, and what was the more worrisome? But okay, Egwene, we see where your brain has worried up into a tizzy. As soon as she's dropped that Mogideon has escaped, though, Nynaeve's dream star plink, bursts like a bubble.
Oh, jump scare. She's woken up.
Nynaeve is the one that has had direct confrontation with Mogideon in the past. That was very frightening. And yeah, that news, I don't think that went well for Nynaeve.
Especially not when she's had bad confrontation in dreams and she's told in a dream that she's escaped. Yeah. She does not want to be dreaming right now.
No. It's Nightmare on Elm Street all over again, and she'll be taking nothing but calf to stay awake for the next week.
Anyway.
She then finds Elaine's dream, passes on the same message, doesn't get the same reaction. Elaine seems to take it a little more calmly and stays in her dream. Next, she moves on to Amis, one of the wise ones, one of those who's good with dreaming, and sends a message into that dream that she needs to speak with her. And immediately Amis calmly responds, "We come." Oh, okay. She's like, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that Amis was able to recognize I was actually talking like this and to just respond. So Egwene heads to the meeting place, the usual meeting spot, which is
the Heart of the Stone in Tyr, with Kalendor just sitting there.
Exactly. And Egwene waits because she knows the wise ones will be coming. Now, this is her first, I believe, her first direct interaction with the wise ones since she left for Saladar.
At least the first, I believe, we're being shown.
I think it's her first.
Probably the first. I don't know if we get told directly that it is.
I infer it because of why she's meeting. Because it's not the news about Mogideon. I mean, that's
no. She's got the other updates of what has happened. She hasn't shared with them yet.
Right. Now, while she's waiting for them, we get a little nonsense from Egwene's random thoughts. Things such as her feelings for Gawain, because in the dream, she notices she's dressed in a very low-cut, flaunting her figure dress, and that was because her mind was on Gawain, and it just happened, and she puts herself in more appropriate dress then, but...
Look, Egwene, if you got it and you want it, flaunt it. Like, if you want to, do it. Don't feel ashamed of it.
We also get some more meandering thoughts about Logain and her concerns about having let him go, her concerns about Mogideon, and she's still kind of talking to herself to bolster herself about Mogideon being gone when she hears a voice. It's the wise ones. They're there, overhearing her talking about a soulless one, as they see the Forsaken, or soul shadowed, I think. Anyways, that means the conversation with them starts off, what's this about Mogideon? So she tells them not that Mogideon escaped. She'd never shared they had a Forsaken captive, but rather that she and her friends had wounded Mogideon's pride.
You could say that. Yeah, that's not untrue.
And Egwene has reason to be concerned that Mogideon might be out for some revenge.
That's also valid. How very Aes Sedai of you to be telling it like this.
Right? The wise ones, they are interested in how did you wound her pride, but they have no issue with the fact that you ticked off a Forsaken. I mean, the Forsakens deserve it. But it is no small thing to have one out after you, so yes, be on your guard, Egwene. Secondly, the primary reason they got together, she shares that she's been made the Amerlin seat. See, she hadn't told them that, so I think this is the first time. This is why they called me here. They've raised me to the Amerlin seat for this group of Aes Sedai, and we're working to get all Aes Sedai to acknowledge it, to recognize me as the chief of the Aes Sedai. The wise ones partly just shake their head at the foolish nonsense political shenanigans of these sisters. And you really ought to come back to be with us. This is where you belong. We'll see you married off well and welcomed into the fold.
They like Egwene. They like her and would accept her kind of as wise one adjacent, and maybe even one day be more ideal.
And this conversation reminds Egwene clearly that she had lied to them before, but she fulfilled her toe. That's gone.
It's forgotten. They've
All
forgiven
they
her
feel
for
now is,
that
we
in the
love
past.
you.
Just remember the good.
We would love to have you back. You're everything that we respect. They spend some time then talking about Rand. It's an interesting conversation. In the last chapter, it wasn't clear how the timeline was matching up necessarily, because they had a message of Rand having moved to Camelin, or from Camelin to Kyrian.
Yeah, the last thing we had heard about Rand from Egwene's perspective was that she had received that message. It had been a little while, so like there's no excuse there hadn't been another message. It hadn't been insanely long.
But we know there's a whole bunch of stuff in the last book that happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't clear where the timeline was. Well, actually, it's clarified here because the wise ones intentionally don't share everything that they know about what's gone on with Rand. Yes, this is post Dumai's Wells, post kidnapping, post the fact that some of the Aes Sedai have sworn fealty to the Dragon Reborn.
/ been forced to swear fealty to.
Kneel or you will be knelt. Yeah, they don't mention any of that. They don't bring any of it up.
It seems like it could be a wise thing of the wise ones to do.
And Egwene actually asks them not to share with Rand that she's the Amyrlin seat.
Why?
Just let's keep that between ourselves.
I'm just sitting here.
I don't know why.
She was sitting here going, I should go and talk to him so that we can like figure this out. And she doesn't think him knowing that she's the Amyrlin might help relations with him and the Aes Sedai. Why are you hiding this?
It's a confusing point.
I don't get this one.
Yeah.
I think it's a mistake.
I think it's more she doesn't want him coming over to the Aes Sedai because of her. She wants him connecting with the Aes Sedai because of what the Aes Sedai represent to the world.
And while I understand that, I think she's misunderstanding Rand's perspective on things. He's not going to, based upon what Aes Sedai are, and he has good reason not to, but he can trust people, individual people. He will never trust an Aes Sedai at this point.
Yeah.
But he will trust his friends.
Right. He's been given so many reasons not to ever trust an Aes Sedai again. If Egwene comes to him as Egwene, that might be okay. If Egwene comes to him as full Aes Sedai, that's going to be a problem. Keep an eye on that for the future, people. As the meeting concludes, Egwene then goes back into the dream and has some special dreams. And she's learned how to recognize when a dream is not just a dream, but is a dream, capital D, something that's prophetic, something that has meaning for the future. She's had these even back before she started training to be a dreamer. And so we get a number of these that I'm just going to list off here. They all are foreshadowing. They're all relevant.
Got it.
But we're not going to be able to talk about what they mean.
At least not right now.
So Gawain walking barefoot across broken glass, his feet bleeding.
Ow.
Gawain on a horse, faced with a choice of two paths. One path leads to his death, the other leads to a long life.
Interesting.
Matt reaching into the sky to grab exploding fireworks, which would lead to many deaths.
Bad?
Egwene with her neck on a headman's block, with an axe descending and someone rushing to save her.
At least she's getting saved.
Logain stepping over Rand's body to mount a black stone. That sounds
not good if literal, maybe.
A golden female hawk touches Egwene, and they become tied together.
Okay.
A man lies dying in a bed, It's important that he live, but a funeral bier is prepared.
Interesting.
Funeral pyre, I think that's supposed to be.
I believe it is actually fire or beer. Specifically, the funeral mound of wood that you make, I believe, is a fire, and when you light it, it is a pyre.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's I think so. I'm not positive on that, but I think I've
So
looked
when
into
you
this
light it to a
previously.
mat, the bee flips over.
Something like
Spins
that.
around. So,
I
yeah,
could be slightly incorrect, but it may even have something to do with the shape or the function or something.
okay.
But I think
All
that
right.
is a real word.
All right. And finally, a dark young man holds a brightly shining object. Again, she's not like Min. When she has these visions, she doesn't know what they mean either. She just tries to discern what these things could be.
At least initial Google, fire is a real thing. It is not that thing. You did mean pyre. Fire would be a big building.
Okay. Yes.
I
So
think.
it was a typo. Okay. So, anyways, I just wanted to point those out. I appreciate your reactions to them, Zach. That was very entertaining.
I react sometimes.
But that's where we're at. That's the end of the chapter. Boom. And that's
You
all we
gave us
got
some
for
good
today.
foreshadowing. Can we go spoiler? Can we send people away and go spoiler room?
We need to do that indeed. So, if you're a first time reader and this is as far as you are, this is where you get off the bus for today and come back the next time we do a Wheel of Time episode. Although, be sure to come back for all of our fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy content. Thanks for watching. For you, we'll talk to you next time. Now, for the rest of you, we're going to go into our spoiler room section.
The spoiler room.
Okay, there was our nice sound effect.
Yeah, I'm just kind of pointing all over because I don't know where it's going to pop up at this point.
And now we'll full spoil talk about something from here. We'll each do one. I'm going to roll.
I need a D20. I'll roll this
Wow.
big one.
Wow. I did my little one here, my pretty little one. Can you see what I did? Can it focus?
Is it a 1?
No.
If you put your hand just like well behind it, sometimes that'll help. You gotta make it sure it doesn't focus on you.
Nah, it can't focus. It's a 4.
I am now also thinking and realizing, didn't you mess with your settings so that your autofocus is turned off and it's just set to focus on you?
No, I turned that off. I turned that off again.
Okay. Mine's a 16, so I get to go
Yeah, you do. Hey, together we make 20.
Hey, could be better. Anyways, I'm just gonna talk a quick moment and understand that Egwene definitely has not at this point seen, and I don't think any of us have seen, at least really, but I don't know if we've seen at all, Ishamael reincarnated. I don't think we've encountered that yet.
No, we haven't.
Except we have now. We've seen it for the first time. Because she sees a man lies dying in a bed. It's important that he live, but a funeral pyre is prepared. She sees the end with Rand's body being burned, but Rand alive and not his body.
Yeah, that was a pretty big one right there. Absolutely.
So, first Moradin sighting, right here.
Yeah. Okay. Except not really. I mean, yes.
Absolutely.
And no. Rand's body. It would be Rand's body, but Moradin in the body.
Well, then seeing in the pyre Rand's body hiding, that is the dead soul of Moradin.
There you go. What do I want to spoil?
I don't know. Probably things from this book.
Probably things from this book. That makes sense.
Not bread or fruit, hopefully.
No, definitely not.
Milk is also a no-go.
Okay. Although cultured milk is actually pretty good. Yogurt.
I'm not a fan.
Really? Oh, I like my yogurt.
I don't really like yogurt, no. This is the content they're here for, to learn that I don't like yogurt.
Right. Well, let me touch on Moghedien. You know, okay, she's escaped and they're worried she could be around any corner. Yes, she's not. She's not around any corner. She got summoned to Shyle Ghul. So she went away. and she's not going to be happy for a while. She's
Yeah.
actually imprisoned and being somewhat tortured. And eventually she will get free again. She will be freed, not get free. She will be freed and given a task to do again, but we ain't gonna see Mo Gideon for a while. She getting slapped because she's been a bad girl.
The biggest difference between the good side and the bad side in this vein isn't so much like when you do something atrocious, you get punished. Like, that's good on either side. Like, we get that. Punish people for going against the grain in ways that they shouldn't. But failure, the side of good doesn't usually punish people really for failing so much as if you failed because you were doing something you weren't supposed to, you were overreaching, you were killing other people, that you'll get punished for. The evil side, yeah, you just fail, you mess up bad enough, and then you go home, and yeah, you're being punished and tortured.
Right? Yeah. It's not good. Well, I mean, it gives good reason for the bad guys to try their hardest to not fail.
Or it gives good reason for the bad guys to try their hardest to make it seem like they didn't, shift blame, be more sneaky about their attempts of things.
Throw others under bus.
Punishment does not necessarily breed later success, just makes you better at hiding things.
Good point. All right. Well, there we go. Some little spoiler content. Nothing earth-shattering, but interesting.
Yeah, just like one day past the expiration date.
Not totally spoiled. I gotcha. All right. All right. That's what we'll leave you all. Again, thanks for being with us. Hope you're enjoying the Wheel of Time journey. Tell your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones, and like, subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification button, so that bell, so you won't miss any of the others when they do eventually come out, because they will. All right. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.